Bigfoot, Dogman, Jersey Devil, and others. Are they real? Figments of our imagination? Or the most cleverly disregarded reality of all time? Come into the cabin. Let's sit down and find out together. Hey guys, welcome back to the cabin. I'm Robbie.
Norman.
I think I'm Johnny.
He's back to thinking again.
Uh-oh. Name tags.
Yep. Well, maybe today's topic might scare him into thinking right.
Maybe. This was something that was brought up to us when we were on that live podcast.
Yeah, we were on Country Boy Cryptids, Chris, and is it Les?
Yeah, I think it was Les.
He brought up something. I guess this is kind of a South Carolina legend. So this is something in our home state, Johnny. Have you ever heard of the BooHag?
I never have, but I got people that really dig into the Gullah culture, so this is kind of neat.
Okay. BooHag is a mythical creature of folklore of the Gullah culture, as Johnny just mentioned. It is locally created, unique contribution to the worldwide hag folklore based on the synthetic belief system of the Gullah culture. So, hag is kind of a worldwide
Phenomenon?
I don't know if phenomenon, but we'll go with phenomenon. And the BooHag is more or less like a low country, South Carolina, Charleston version of that. So the legend goes, according to the legend, BooHags are similar to vampires, but unlike vampires, they gain sustenance from a person's breath as opposed to their blood by riding their victims. They have no skin and are red. In order to be less conspicuous, they steal victim skins and use it for as long as it holds out, wearing it as one might wear clothing. They remove the skin and hide before going riding. When a hag determines a victim is suitable for riding, the hag generally gains access to the home through a small crack, crevice, or hole. The hag itself, over the sleeping, dazing victim, sucks their breath. This act renders the victim helpless and induces a deep, dream-filled sleep. The hag tends to leave the victims alive so as to use them again for their energy. However, if the victim struggles, the hag may take their skin, leaving the victim to suffer. After taking the victim's energy, the hag flies off, as they must be in their skin by dawn or forever trapped without skin. When the victim awakes, they may feel short of breath, sick, and very dizzy, but generally the victim only feels tired. An expression sometimes used in South Carolina is, "Don't let the hag ride you." This expression may come from the BooHag legend. So that's the Gullah version of it. But outside of the Gullah culture, while BooHags are a product of the Gullah culture, the legend has become known on a wider scale. The legend has been used as an object lesson in stranger danger. The legend has also been used as a subject of a song and poetry. In 2005, a BooHag became a character in a children's book called Precious and the BooHag by Patricia C. McKissick. And Onowami Jean Moss. Whatever that means, I'm sorry, because I know I butchered the living you-know-what out of that, but it is what it is. In the story, the BooHag is said to be strange and tricky, and it does anything to get into the house. Precious, the main character, is told by her brother that the BooHag also tries to make you disobey your mama. Now we go with the yo mama jokes. Mm-hmm. Tries to make you disobey your mama. In Black Wings, Gray Skies by Haley Edwards, a BooHag has gone rogue and starts killing children and the occasional adult. A group of BooHags decides to help the main character bring the villain down. Lady Night, a kind of BooHag, appears as a character in Tristan Strong Destroys the World, in the second book of the Tristan Strong series. So these things have kind of gotten into pop culture a little bit, I guess.
Sounds it.
Yeah.
So.
And they're familiar to what? A mare? Hoodoo? Baba Yaga. I've heard of Baba Yaga.
Yep.
That's a Russian witch.
Yeah, Baba Yaga actually makes in the new Hellboy remake, they actually see the Baba Yaga. And I've heard that as a character in some books that I've read.
I've heard crone being used a lot, which is another name for a witch, and hag.
Crone and hag both were used in a lot of the, like the Clash of the Titans, Wrath of the Titans style movies, Jason and the Argonauts, things like that. So that's
the next two I'm not familiar with.
Crone and hag are very popular as far as back into that. Adventurer, like the Jason and Argonauts, Perseus, the Greek.
You either go seek the wisdom of the sage or the crone. And it's always a treacherous thing.
Well, I mean, really, honestly, think about it. Go back to like 300. Not the oracle, but think about the creatures that were around the oracle. I mean, they were males, but I mean that to me was a male version of a hag.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were creeping on the girl that was tripping. Yeah.
So I mean, and if you go back to Clash of the Titans, the three sisters, they were hags, the ones that had that all-seeing crystal eye. Harpies are basically a witch slash bird, but they're horribly ugly. That old crone, old witch type thing.
Yeah. Crone's been used as a derogatory term for older women.
So
My kind of women.
So, I guess basically this is more or less like a type of witch.
Yeah.
I would say more of a witch than a vampire. I mean, it's got the sort of the vampire trope of it's got
a vampire trope, but with a witch overtones.
Yeah.
Either way, it's possessive.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that I see similar to the vampire is it leeches energy, whereas a vampire leeches energy through blood. This one does it through
breath.
But obviously it doesn't make any kind of note that says it needs to have your permission before it comes in the house, or any of that kind of stuff. So I'd say this is more like just a witch type thing than it is a vampire. But I do not want to meet this thing, especially if it takes your skin off of you, because that would be
painful.
That would definitely be a suffering type thing.
Yes, definitely. Almost reminded me of my second wife. She used to take me for my money, not for my breath.
Well, she can have my breath. I just don't want to have my skin.
Yes.
Those are just, like I said, I never heard of it. I've been in South Carolina now for about, I'll be 58 this week, 43 years.
I've been in South Carolina for 48 years, and I've never heard of it.
Where were the other boys out of? Lower part of the state?
No, they were from West Virginia, I believe.
It might be just traditionally more towards the southern.
Yeah,
toward
the Gullah
coast.
culture is that's
Coastal
Charleston area, coastal wetlands.
We're like up here, like we got the booger.
Yeah, and I think this is more like probably a
Cultural thing?
because it's got a lot of voodoo type sounding to it, and Gullah is heavily tied in with voodoo and that. So I think that's probably where a lot of that came from. And then, as a lot of these legends are, like we talked about with the Tennessee Wildman, one person hears one thing and this other person's heard this other thing, and they start, tying these things together, and before you know it, you've got this whole legend that's,
Either way, it's West African in nature.
All right.
Similar stuff in Louisiana.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Cajun and Gullah are not far off from each other. I mean,
yep.
With the exception, and when I say not far off, I mean the the cultures themselves are vastly different, but they're what's the word I'm looking for? They're
Well, their origins.
no, they're I have lost my train of thought. What?
Cantaloupes.
Yeah, they're cantaloupes. Their folklore, their legends
Yeah.
have similar basis of
A grain of truth.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you know
Like with
They're-
all vampire myths,
they're all
there's blood is used to get energy or life. And in this legend, they're using breath to gain life, to use the energy
Yeah.
to maintain their life.
and well, all their legends are passed down word of mouth over
Oral culture,
Yes.
oral traditions.
oral traditions, oral culture. You don't. It didn't say it in here, but like and I know this because I've got relatives who are Cajuns. They won't. I know you've heard me say this, Norm. They won't say that rougarou word. They will
No.
not say that because it's so steeped in their tradition and their superstitions are just.
It's
and-
that strong that if to use the word is to call it upon you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the superstitions of Gullah and Cajun culture are similar in nature of how
The
they
belief.
Yeah, the belief system and the belief structure of how they believe in things like that are a lot. Like I said, one's French, the other's
West African.
West African, but how many times have we seen? And just think about it for Bigfoot. I mean, how many different countries and cultures have something like that?
Yeah.
Russia, Asia, Vietnam, America. I mean, how far apart are all these?
But yet the stories are so similar. It's like with the mythology. There's a lot of mythological stories that if you look at them, they're so similar.
So you can look at witches from,
Europe,
your,
Africa, Russia.
things like that. Well, Baba Yaga's even mentioning that, which is like you said is a Russian witch. So you can start tying stuff in, just like you can tie in dogmen and to different parts of the world. And you can tie Bigfoot or Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them, into different parts of the world. Okay, yeah, they describe it as like the orang pendak is not described as tall as what we see a Sasquatch over here being, but that doesn't mean it's not the same species.
Right.
It's just different subspecies.
Right.
So, I think, like you said, you got a witch, and this is a different subgenre of witches.
Yeah, that'd be a good word for it right there. Subgenre.
Because I just, when I read this, I don't read vampire, I read witch.
Yeah.
I mean, Hansel and Gretel. Okay, good example. A witch. She had to cook the kids for their.
To sustain her longevity, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
well, even the movie, that's what they, this most recent movie they did, that's how they kept up their beautiful appearance. And most of the time when you think about witch stories, that's what they're doing these things for, is to keep up their beauty and their appearance and their young age or young looking age, because if something happens and they don't get to finish the ritual and they don't get to eat the children, they revert to what they're
They go full Dorian Gray.
yeah. The picture gets ripped up and now they turn into a
horrible creature, if not dust.
yeah.
They become their true age. It was an interesting thing. I mean, I'm glad Les brought it up to us, but I'd never heard about it. And I really can't say I spent a little time in down country, not much, but I've got family that grew up in Alabama, and they never mentioned anything too much like this or that. It's just.
Well, if you keep enough sieves and brooms around, they're too busy to mecca with you. That's what I'm reading.
Yeah, they're slightly OCD, apparently.
Yes, yeah, they're on the spectrum.
Yeah, just a little bit.
What was that vampire movie where the guy had the sunflower seeds? Was that Something Wicked This Way Comes, or? It was one of those kind of a kid things, and he dropped the sunflower seeds, and the guy had to sit there and count them, and then he'd throw a few more. He just kept messing. The vampire was goofy. You had to see it.
That wasn't the vampire's assistant, was it? That movie was
It may have been that.
John C. Reilly.
That may have been it.
Yeah, the guy that always was in movies with Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
That's the one you're talking about? Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah.
That's Cirque du Freak, the vampire's assistant, I think is
Okay.
the name of that one.
It was just, but it was funny.
I've seen that one. It's on the goofy scale, but it's an entertaining movie.
Yeah.
I've heard of something like that where there's a creature. I'm going to use the term creature because I don't remember what it was. That to distract it was to throw something down because it had to.
That's the Rougarou. That's
count it
when you on the nights that it's supposed to come out. You're supposed to put like 13 pennies or 13 items.
Okay.
I believe the number's 13. Don't give hold me to that, but basically you put 13 because it can't count past 12. So it will just basically put itself in a perpetual loop because it has to count for some reason. That's one of the things that it sees these items. Yeah, the Rougarou. Not Loup-garou. Loup-garou is French for werewolf. Rougarou is the Cajun monster that's, basically a werewolf, but, But it sees these items, it has to count them, and it can't count past 12. So when it gets to 12 and there's one more, it has to start over and keep.
Because it thinks it miscounted.
Yeah, and it'll keep counting. It'll keep doing that for the rest of the night, and therefore you'll be safe. It won't try to come into your house.
I think I want to say there was something else, but I could be wrong. But maybe our next show should be on the Rougarou.
We can definitely do that.
Okay. I'll look into that. And the other subject we talk about, and keep that one a surprise.
Yeah, we can definitely do Rougarou.
Because you've mentioned it a few times, and I think maybe it's time we bring that one to the surface. That'll give you something really good to talk about from your family side.
Yep.
Cool.
For both of y'all.
We definitely can get into how, because, I love the Cajun side, so we can definitely get into, how Loup-garou turned
Just have
into
to bring some shrimp with
Rougarou. Shrimp and grits.
Yeah,
some gumbo.
Yeah.
I've had
Some
macaroni
boudin
shrimp.
balls.
Mm-hmm. Get back in that pot.
But this was different.
Yeah,
It was something I'd never heard about before.
No, and honestly, when he asked us about it, I'd never heard of it, but
I had to Google it real quick while we were on the show because I was like, okay.
yeah, but like I said, I think it really heavily ties into witchcraft and some things
Paints
like that.
and spirits. That's
Yeah.
West African hoodoo. It's ate up with it. Everything's a spirit and a soul. And you can have a spirit and a soul. With us, they're kind of like one and the same. With them, they're not.
So now you know if you're exhausted in the morning and your girlfriend didn't spend the night with you,
The BooHags come over.
the BooHag had been there and has sucked your life out of you.
I'm gonna start
Welcome to relationships.
I'm gonna start calling my dog the BooHag because every time he turns over to bed and bumps me and won't let me sleep and I wake up tired, that's what I'm gonna start calling him. Bucky the BooHag.
Your daughter's giving you the stink eye.
She knows I'm telling the truth. All right. Well, Norman, how can people get in touch with us if they got an interesting story like the BooHag they want us to look into or
Well, folks,
talk
if you
about?
have an interesting story like the BooHag or something else, you can reach us at Facebook on What's Really Out There. I monitor the site as well as a few of our admins and moderators. You can leave a message on the Facebook page. You can send direct IMs. Let us know if you need someone to talk to or to listen to you. you got a story to tell, or you've got an event going on and you need someone to come out and take a gander. We have people here in South Carolina and other parts of the U.S. that we have associated groups that can come out and do a field investigation if you need. Or you just need someone to maybe come down and do a one-on-one sit with you and just listen. Talk to you, listen, be there, be your what's the word I'm looking for? Your compatriot. Just listen what you got to talk about, because we believe in what's going on. That's why we're here. We're here to look, listen, and learn, because there's a lot out there that we still don't know, and the only way we're going to learn more is to ask questions. So if you got any questions or concerns, reach out to us on Facebook, and Robbie will give you our email address and how to reach us there with questions, concerns, or even a show. If you want us to do a show on something, leave us some feedback on Facebook or email address. Robbie?
That email address is what'sreallyouthere2022@gmail.com. All one word, no apostrophes, no anything else, just what's really out there 2022. You can also, on the YouTube channel, What's Really Out There, you can leave us comments, or you can actually send us messages on that. That as well is monitored. So if y'all got anything you want to add to us, if you want to leave us a comment on any of the podcast things like iHeartRadio or Spreaker or Spotify or any of those platforms that we use, just leave us a message and somebody will get it. Other than that, I guess that's all for the cabin tonight, guys. Anything else, Norman?
No, I got nothing else to say. Just be safe, be careful, and if in doubt, ask for help.
Johnny?
And FYI, it's been too much overcast for the smoke signals, so I'm sorry if you got lost in the mix.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Keep sending them. He'll keep watching the horizon. Eventually they'll get through. All right. Well, we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.